Ergama, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for
It's a
having
real
me.
pleasure to have you join us today. Our theme for the year is Girls' Vision for the Future, Young Voices, Big Impact. As I'm sure you know, building resilience and grit along the way is critical to being someone who makes big impact. So my first question for you today is, can you share a story with us, like a personal story from your own life, when everything seemed really hard and you know you wanted to give up? What did you do in that moment to kind of help overcome that? And how did you get where you are today? You can use that as kind of like an intro into your story, who you are, just to set the tone for the people in the room.
All right, thank you very much for having me. And good morning to the young ladies and gentlemen who are sitting in this room. Good morning to distinguished guests. I would like to first of all thank the organizers, Willan Global, of this event because it's not every day that you see our young voices being amplified like this. Please put your hands together for yourselves. Walked in whilst the competition was going on, and I think I caught the last finalist. And the truth is, it takes a lot to climb the stage and speak. If you ask any of those finalists who made it up here, it takes a whole lot. It's not as easy as it looks. You're dealing with nerves, you're forgetting your lines, you're forgetting your point. So every opportunity you have to stand on an elevated platform and you're able to speak a few sentences, that's a great kudos to you. And that's something that I'm glad that all of you got to witness. So please put your hands together again. And so my name is Iro. My government name is Irogama Ogboifun, but my friends call me Iro. I manage a company called Stars. We have 11 vessels that work for international oil companies like Total, Shell, Chevron, ExxonMobil. I am a serial entrepreneur, and that's where most of my pain points and need for grit and resilience would emerge from, as I have been in business for the last 15 years. I have 4 salons, 1 spa, I have a training center, I have a hall, I have 2 pharmacies, and I have 2 supermarkets as well, and I'm still going. So my point is, as an entrepreneur, you will deal with various situations and scenarios that would breed regret, that will teach you how to fail, teach you how to also celebrate successes. It will teach you how to dig deep and find a deeper meaning for why you do whatever it is that you do. And that's one of the things that I like to leave as a strong message. As you get older, you want to be finding out, why am I doing what I'm doing, where I'm headed, the choices that I'm making, why am I doing them? And so I'll just go right into the question of a time when it was tough. So I'll give a story for one of my businesses, Herven. Herven is my baby. It's Hairven. It's actually the beauty brand, so it's the one that has the salons. But when we started off with selling hair extensions and wigs. This was 15 years ago, when it had just become a fad. And then, I looked around my clients and I saw that they were lacking products, hair care products to care for these wigs that they were spending so much money buying. And that was because at the time we were only used to our black hair, so we're using natural hair focused products, which were not good for wigs. So I went into production and started producing my own range of products for hair extensions. I was importing them from outside the country. Now, for you to sell those kinds of products in a supermarket or store in Nigeria, you have to have a NAFDAC number. So I went through the arduous journey of trying to obtain my NAFDAC number, and that was where my grit and my resilience began training. This is almost 13 years ago. So it was because you're faced with disappointments, you're faced with loss of money. You give a consultant money and then they don't come through, etc. So you're faced with a lot of times where you're saying to yourself, have I made a bad decision? Have I made the right choice? I mean, I studied abroad. I have a first degree in biology and psychology. I have a master's in public health. So I could have actually gotten a regular job like the rest of my colleagues and just, been content earning my salary. But here I was diving straight on in my 20s, right into business and taking on that business world on my own. So I faced that, and it was very, very challenging. But I also recognized, and that's why I keep talking about the why. I knew that my vision was very important, and I knew that for me to achieve that vision, I needed to get through this obstacle of NAFDAC registration, right? So that's why, that bigger, broader why, helped me stay grounded. if there's anything like that. It helped me stay, resilient. It helped me push through. It helped me beg. It helped me learn how to stoop to conquer. And eventually we got our NAFDAC numbers, we got registered, we were stocked in every SPAR location in the country. We got shelf space in Casabella, if everyone knows Casabella, which is tied to Health Plus then. And we got into chain supermarkets as well in Port Harcourt. But I could never have achieved that if I didn't stay true to going through that obstacle that was NAFDAC. So that was big for me.
Thank you for sharing. So if I want to summarize what we've just said, is that identifying your why will help make the process not easier, but it make it clearer. So you know exactly why you're going through what you're going through. Excellent. So we have here a lot of teenagers and young people. And we're now in a world where, social media is the norm now, right? So photos and things. And people are posting, I went on this trip yesterday, I went somewhere else. In a world where there's a lot of comparison, and people are comparing themselves, on social media, and even in real life, someone bought this kind of shoes. I remember was it the jelly shoes when I was growing up? That when someone had jelly shoes, everybody was jealous. You got, fight very hard to go and get yours. The question is, how do you stay confident? How, in a world where this is a norm, where it's standard to compare yourself, how do you stay confident without comparing yourself to others? And what advice would you give to young people who feel discouraged by what they see online? So if they're saying things online and you're thinking, I can never be here in the next 2,000 years, or why is my mommy not like this, or why is my daddy not like this? What advice do you have for them?
So first thing is we have to learn contentment. That's just the key to it. It's really just as simple as that. Even when you think that you have arrived, because nobody ever really arrives. And that's why you see even rich people, they keep getting richer, they keep working, they keep taking loans. So truly, it's not a destination, and that's life. Life is a journey, so you keep moving from one level to another. Now you're in school, you're going to get out of school, you're going to go to university. After university, so you're going to just keep having one other milestone that you like to conquer, you like to overcome or achieve. So it's if you recognize that life is a journey and there's levels to every journey, then you learn contentment. So what does contentment mean? It means just being okay with what you have. That's really just what contentment means. It means that at this point in my life, this is what I have. This is what's available to me. So I'm going to be content with it, and then I'm going to maximize I will squeeze every potential, I will squeeze every opportunity out of it so that I can move to the next level. And that becomes your focus. So as opposed to envy, eyeing, spending a long time just looking at what other people are doing, and most times, by the way, fake life, not theirs, borrowed, stolen, photoshopped. So it's not really real, right? But here you are, dying, having mental health issues for what is not probably yet your time for. So as opposed to saying, this inspires me, I like this. So what are you taking out of that content? So I should see, this house is very nice. So I'd like to live in a house like this. What do I need to do to live in a house like this? Okay, maybe I need to work hard. I need to establish institutions. I need to establish enterprise. Or I need to get a very good job. So I have to do well in school so I can be picked by some of the majors. So what is the content doing for you? So as opposed to making you think that success comes quick, it's saying, you can have this, but you have to work for it. So contentment for me, if you don't take anything out of everything I've said today, please remember that speaker said, I need to be content, and I need to focus on what is critical for me. And second thing to young people is that the truth is, nobody comes and puts social media in your face. You're using your own phone, or your mother or your father's phone. You're using your own data, or your father and mother's data. So that means you're using your own money, or your father and mother's money to oppress yourself. It doesn't, we're head boys, head girls here. It makes no sense. So basically, you get to choose. You get to choose the kind of content that you want to absorb today. If you're focused, if you're sitting in this room, that means I'm speaking to a bunch of extremely focused, intelligent, forward-progressing young people who are in this room. So definitely, you're saying to yourself that you want, what do you want to consume at this point? So for me, I want to know news. So even I'm 39, I'll be 40 next year. And at my big old age, I'm still screening what I consume because there's so much other things that require my attention and my focus that if I allow myself to be, bogged down by some of these other distractions, then I'm not going to be able to achieve my potential and where I want to go. So my point is you have a choice. Today, what's that choice that you're making? What are you choosing to consume? And I'm just going to leave it at that.
Fantastic. Thank you. A round of applause for that response. That was a fantastic response. All right, as I round up, I want to ask you 2 final questions. So first is, what advice would you give to someone who is struggling to stay focused on their goals after facing multiple setbacks? So we have a team of people who are in their final year or like penultimate year for many of them. Many of them are about to get into universities. There will be a lot of no's on the way, a lot of results that they don't like on the way. What advice do you have for them as they're about to get into like the season and prepping for things like that?
Yeah, she just said that. It took me back. Even though, man, I haven't been when I graduated in 2003, that's like, 21 years ago, and where I was at that point. And I did get no's. So when you just said the lot of no's, I applied to schools. I had a gap year, so I used that year to sit my SATs. I applied to a bunch of schools, and I got so many rejections. And before I got my first yes. So you can imagine, the letter. I know then they'll post the letter. It's not like now they send you an email. They'll post it, so you're already almost dying of anticipation, and then you get the letter finally, and then it's your application, and it always starts like this: Dear Blessing Ogbeifun, your application was really good with the admission committee, found it, this. Then you now come to them, unfortunately, this year we had that. So you can imagine reading that over and over. And I'll sit there, my dad would be across, we'll both open letter together, and I'll just literally die inside. So I know what it is to face. But what I've learned over the years is, and then I didn't know it, so maybe I can share that now, is that I learned how to fail forward. So, when they say failing forward, what does that mean? Is that, you can fail backwards, meaning you fail, so you reach a setback, so you get told no, and then you give up. Right? You abandon it, you get discouraged, you get depressed. But failing forward is you stumble, like you stumble small, you shake, and then you straighten up. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you'll pick something from it. What didn't I do right? Okay, I keep trying and I keep going. So if you're entering this next season of your life, you're going to say, I will apply, I'll put my best foot forward, I'll be diligent. But then you also say that in the instance, what else can I be doing? So don't waste your time, right? Don't allow the waiting period be just that. Let that waiting period be a period of learning. Let it be a period of development. You can pick up skills. Gosh, and so many things I wish I had learned before I left. I'm making sure that my children are already, picking up some of those skills. How to do hair, how to change a tire, really growing your digital skills. All that time whilst you're waiting. So at the waiting time, even if you're facing rejections, you don't look back after 12 months and you're like, what did I get out of that? So make it count and make it worth it, regardless of whatever is happening, okay?
All right. Thank you so much. My final quick question to you is, we have a lot of young people here who are trying to make impact, big impact with their young voices. So our theme this year is Girls' Vision for the Future, Young Voices, Big Impact. So what is one habit? So as they're trying to make, we've seen the fantastic competition and the presentations that they had. There are more people who actually couldn't get in, but who are actually doing amazing things in their communities. What is one habit that you would recommend that they pick up now? One daily habit to help them stay grounded as they are moving forward into making big impact.
I'm a Christian, so I say pray, but that's stable. So let me throw that in. But I'd say journaling. A lot of people underestimate the value of writing down your thoughts, your ideas, your dreams, your hopes, your visions, your fears. We call it a diary, but it's so powerful. Even up till you find that even when you get into adulthood, literally where the Bible says, write down that vision so you can run with it. It's not just for external people to run with it. It's also for you to be able to run with it, for you to remember it, for you to, if you go back and read some of those points, those thoughts you had, you'll be like, wow, there was a time. It even serves as an encourager during times when it looks as if you're lost, right? It helps you remember that this is who you are. This is, this is what I could do. This is what I dreamt of doing. This is what happened to that girl, what happened to that boy. And it sort of helps you sort of push up. So if I would say anything, every day we all think stuff. We encounter different situations, different scenarios. We have conversations that some of them stick. Get into the habit of writing. I meet a lot of people today and they don't know how to write, write. Because when you get older, you'll be so glad that you already have the habit of, I have an idea, I'm going to put it down. Sometimes you're sleeping, you wake up, something clicks, you just jump up, look for your journal, where it is, you write it down. Afterwards, you develop on it, you expand on it, you discuss it with those who will gather with you to make it happen. So if you can get into the habit of journaling, it doesn't have to be any fancy notebook. If someone says, what do you want for your birthday? You can say, oh, please can you buy me a journal? That's a fantastic gift, right? And you can decorate it however you like, however it will speak to you, write your words of affirmation at the beginning, just to help you through the journey of life, because life is not for the faint-hearted. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We've had a fantastic time. I will now hand over to Ebon. I want to take a picture.